Hey, Brandon here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of the 2023 NFL Draft Rookie Report. Here, as always, with me, Jason DiRienzo, co-founder of the Devy Watch and a recent graduate of the Scouting Academy, back with me again tonight. And we are going to talk about Oklahoma wide receiver Marvin Mims. I think a player, Jason, that you and I both feel like, he's probably outside the top 10 in wide receivers, maybe, or close to that range. But I think you and I both feel pretty good that we like his game.
Yo, we're going to get into that, but I agree. Yep.
Yeah, so we're going to take a look at his 2022 film. We're going to talk about his expected draft capital as well as his future dynasty value. So again, thank you for tuning in. We're going to be doing shows like this for all of your favorite rookies that you plan on drafting in your rookie draft. So hit that subscribe button. And again, thank you for spending the next 15 minutes with us. So let's get right into it. Marvin Mims, all right? So 3-year junior coming out of school, 5'11", 184 pounds. His career statistics, he had 111 receptions, 2,135 yards, 17 TDs, averaging 19.2 yards per reception. We're going to talk about that number in a couple minutes. His receiving percentage was 68%. So let's look at some PFF stats. That's what we do on this show. Okay. So again, his snap location was 54% inside and 46% outside. So in the slot. So he was kind of used all over the field in Oklahoma. His catch percentage was 68%, which is pretty good. Kind of looking for 70, would be a great, but I mean, it's pretty solid there at 68 yards per reception, 19.2. Now that's first in the 2023 draft class of wide receivers. So, I mean, it was pretty evident in his game that he is a vertical threat. And we're going to talk about that when we get to his scouting report here shortly. His average depth of target, 6.2. So again, he was a vertical threat that basically tells you that he was targeted a lot down the field. His yards, his yak per reception was 7.4, which is second in the 2023 draft class of wide receivers, only second to Quentin Johnston, who has the honor of having the most yak yards of all wide receivers in this year's draft, which is kind of, we did Johnston's film, show just like this, everybody, a few weeks ago. It's out on the channel, so go back and check that out. So yeah, I mean, Marvin Mims is an explosive player. I think that's kind of why we both like him. Now, he's one of these receivers, everybody, that we have a lot of receivers this size in this class. Yeah. We have a lot of guys under 6 foot, between 175 and 185 pounds. And Marvin Mims is just, in the lump with one of the, with that category of players. So let's talk about his scouting film. Any thoughts on those? And those numbers, Jason, before we go?
The film kind of tells the story of exactly what those numbers say.
Yeah. So the scouting report. All right. So, we go through, if you're new to the channel, again, welcome. If you've been here before, the routine. We go through the traits of these players that we like to talk about. All right. Release and route running. These are some notes in my Devy to Dynasty dashboard product here, Jason. I like his release and acceleration. Showed good footwork and the ability to change directions and speed on releases. Gauging his route running was difficult for me, given how many free releases he had, right? He ran, I believe, a really limited route tree with a lot of post and corner variation routes, slants, and wide receiver screens. So I can't say, honestly, that I saw a lot of technique with his separation skills, in his 2022 film. And I mean, I've been a big fan playing Devy for all these years, in 2021 as well. He's one of these players that I've had a hard time gauging. He didn't face a ton of press, right? He just,
right.
For me, I came away like with this question mark on his route running. If he is a space creator, can you tell me what your thoughts are on that?
Yeah, I'm slightly disagree with the route running portion of it. And it's just because I had to go back and watch some of the past years just to kind of see things that I didn't get a chance to see this season. And I actually do think he's got quite nuance within his route running. So at the Scouting Academy, we talk about from snap to finish, right? Right after snap and how he finishes. I think his release is good. He's got great acceleration, which we'll get into. But when he gets up to the defender, he has an arsenal of moves, and he's not afraid to use his hands to swipe and rip and get past defenders if needed. It's in a space, not at the line of scrimmage, so keep that in mind. But when he's in his route, he stays close to the defender, so the defender doesn't really know how he's going to execute his
Great.
break. And I like that a lot. So I don't think he's physical. I don't think he's crisp in his routes. I think he's manipulative and he understands exactly how to gain leverage at the top of his routes in order to separate. And that part I like. And even at the top of his routes, I saw him using his hands in a couple of the games. And that type of physicality and mentality to kind of separate himself, I'm very intrigued by.
Yeah, well, you and I have talked a lot about these prospects going into the draft in 2023, and we both believe out of all the guys this size, he is the most physical.
Oh, completely agree. Yeah.
I mean, I believe anyway. So it's the
Yeah.
second trait here. Well, I'm glad you saw that in the film, and maybe I'll have to go back and take a look. But that makes me happy because I got a couple shares on my Devy leagues.
I do
All
too.
right, so his ball skills and hands, I think he really shines in this. The Red River game, is
Mhm.
that what it's called? The game against
Yeah.
Texas, is that what it is? I mean, back in 2021, I mean, the vertical, long, deep receptions that he had were just outstanding. And this is what my notes are here in my scouting report for him. Is I really like his vertical ball skills. Like I said, he averaged 19.3 yards per reception in 2022, tracks the football well with good concentration and body control, has the physicality to win 50-50 balls in contested catch situations, doesn't have a big wingspan, which can limit his length to go up and get
Mhm.
the ball, but he's got good hands. He did have 5 drops on the season, and there were a couple games this year where I think they're just concentration drops. He's kind of
Yeah.
looking to get, he loves the yak part of his game. I mean, I think that's another skill that he has, and I think he drops in. But I mean, I liked his vertical presence down the field and going up and getting the ball.
Yeah, I think his ball skills are fantastic. He plays, we talk about his strength, but if he didn't look so small on the field, when you watch some of those catches that he makes, with defenders on his back and he has to adjust himself and he's not getting above the defender, he's just putting his hands in the right spot in order
Hmm.
to secure the ball. He plays like he's 6'1", 6'2", and I
Yeah,
love that about him.
yeah,
Yeah, the ball skills and hands, I really don't have a problem with. And even the drops when I watch them this season, they're concentration drops. But dude, you want to nitpick? I mean, some of the best receivers that we like in this draft have had 7 to 9 drops. So I don't
sure.
think it's that bad. And yeah, I just think that his all around game, as far as his ball skills, is fantastic.
Yeah, his acceleration and speed here. Bursty athlete. I have good acceleration and speed to threaten
Mhm.
defenses vertically. Routinely won downfield, showing his wheels. Not a burner, but I think he has fantastic play speed to win vertical in the NFL.
Oh, absolutely. I think his vertical speed is definitely going to make his mark. He's going to be a downfield threat, like you said right at the beginning of this video. He looks like a high 4.3, low 4.4 type of guy,
Yeah.
but that initial acceleration, man, I mean, the whole range from start all the way till he gets through into the second level, it's nothing but pure brute speed, and I like that about him.
Yeah, yards after catch. I hear really good in the open field, has the vision to find holes and outruns defender for extra yardage, runs with a mean streak and fights for every yard. You know me and
Mhm.
physical receivers. I like how he runs. He runs with a purpose and
Yeah.
he doesn't shy away from contact. And I really, really like that because I see a lot of receivers who, kind of turn their shoulder at the end
Yeah.
and, you can kind of tell they're going to get hit and they kind of avoid the contact. But Mims, I don't think is afraid of it.
No, Mims is that alpha guy, man. He's not afraid of contact. He'll catch the ball knowing there's a safety and linebacker coming right at him. So give me that all day long in comparison to some of the other guys I've seen that are bigger than him, but just don't
Mhm.
play with the same competitive nature.
Right. So I hear physicality and athleticism. I have here highly competitive and tough for his size.
Mhm.
Doesn't shy away from contact. Think he's the most physical receiver in this class. Excellent blocking skills too, which I think is going to serve him in the NFL. I was watching one game of 2022, and the announcer was just going on and on about how he was talking to assistant coaches, and they said that he is the model wide receiver in the wide receiver room when it comes to tenacious blocking. And I said to myself, well, I'll tell you what, man, scouts are just going to freaking love that the fact that this guy, when he's not involved in the play, because he did a lot of wide receiver screens, but there were times too in the wide receiver screens that he didn't get the ball and he was the
Right.
lead blocker in those plays. And he showed the willingness to go down there and do the dirty work.
Oh yeah. I mean, everything you want out of a receiver who's smaller, this is that mold. You're not going to get a lot of Marvin Mims type of players who play big. And it's the mental toughness too. I think it was a Texas game where he had to adjust himself to kind of get the ball and going out of bounds, missed it. But a couple plays later, did the exact same thing and had an amazing catch along the sideline. So it's the mental toughness, and it's also the toughness in the fact that he didn't transfer when he could have. He
Mm-hmm.
stayed there, he committed, and that's part of toughness too.
Yeah.
Just being
I like
mentally
that.
available and tough, and he's on the field, off the field. all around, I think Marvin Mims is a bit underrated in this class.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think he was dinged up a little bit too this year. I know towards the end of the
Uh,
season.
I don't know about that, but if he is, that's even more impressive.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's talk about his draft capital and his projected fantasy value. In the NFL draft right now, I mean, he is probably the 12th or 13th receiver in NFL mock draft database.com. That is always a tongue twister for me. I think I got it out right. But I'm seeing rounds 3 and 4 for him in
Yeah.
the NFL draft. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think round 3 is my sweet spot. When I'm watching him, I'm thinking of the 49ers pick of Danny Gray last year. I think that he is the perfect 49er, the blocking, the mentality, the
Hmm.
ability to like all of it. I think that if they could go back and redo it and Marvin Mims, they would take Marvin Mims in this draft. He just fits that mold perfectly. I think third round's the sweet spot.
Yeah. Well, Ayuk, I believe, is a undrafted free agent. So
No, there
who
you go.
knows what happens? So, rookie draft selection. Again, we just did a rookie mock on the Devy dashboard to my subscribers. He was late second. I think he was like the 211 or something like that. So, I'm thinking mid to late 2 into 3. I mean, unless he gets just a really great landing spot with a great opportunity, I'm thinking mid second through mid third, depending on people's view of Mims.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think it starts at mid-second. I mean, he's a guy who could get immediate opportunity in the right position, or he's a guy who could land on a depth chart and have to wait 3 years. But either way, I'll be happy to take him probably like late second area. I'll feel good about that value, knowing I have to wait for a guy who could possibly do some damage.
Yeah. So his projected fantasy value, let's say 2 years, 3 years in, he gets acclimated to the NFL. I could see him being a wide receiver 3 or 4 in that ballpark. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I got wide receiver 3, but I think the upside of wide receiver 2 is definitely a possibility for him.
Great. I like it. My player
Yeah.
comp, I thought of Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks, when I watch him play, could be a little bit more twitchier, but I always looked at Brandon Cooks as a physical, smaller physical receiver, who I think
Yeah.
is mentally tough as well. Stuck it out in Houston, even though he doesn't want to be there. He's been passed around the NFL a couple times, but I'd like, he's been an explosive fantasy dynasty asset. So, I mean, if he could at all come close to Cooks's production, um, I'd be in that. But Brandon Cooks was my player comp for Mims.
Yeah, I like that comp a lot. I think the way Brandon Cooks wins was through yak and being a vertical threat, and that's
Mhm.
exactly what Marvin Mims can do. So I think that's a great comp. I have Tyler Lockett. I think if Marvin Mims can really secure down his route running ability and get an expanded route tree, I like the upside of what Tyler Lockett, what Marvin Mims could be as far as what Tyler Lockett is now.
Yeah, I mean Tyler Lockett he's had a fantastic career in
Yeah,
Seattle, winning vertical as well. So
right.
so there you guys have it, man. I appreciate you tuning in. There are our thoughts on Marvin Mims. It's going to be a player who's probably going to be in that early day 3 category, but if he gets that landing spot and that right opportunity, he could
Hmm.
vault up rookie drafts this spring. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button please, and we're going to be doing shows like this for all of your favorite rookies as we head to the NFL draft. Thanks for watching.